G'day everyone, welcome back. Welcome back to what is the, I guess, second episode of swapping the engine in. Yeah, so what you see before you is a 6.5 litre Chevy V8 turbo diesel, and it is in my 93 Rex Hunt Special Edition GQ Patrol, which, you know, not very imaginative I suppose, but is named REXY. Today we're picking up pretty much exactly where we left off the last episode. If you didn't see that, I'll leave a link somewhere and you can go and check that out. Yeah, but basically we've got a pretty long list of stuff to try and get done, all in preparation for a dyno session that is incredibly close, and we're not that close to running. So we've got a lot of work to do in a short amount of time. Still waiting on parts, but there's still heaps we can do, you know, to get finished before the parts turn up. Before we do hook into the work though, I would just like to say a massive thank you to anybody who watched the last video, but certainly everybody that commented. I mean, the amount of comments that are, you know, welcome back. I had previously sort of stopped doing videos for a bit of context, but the amount of comments I got on the last video that were, you know, welcome back, happy to see you, you know, missed your content, all that sort of stuff was like overwhelming, really, to be honest. Yeah, very grateful for anybody who watches the videos, very grateful for all of the subscribers as well, and yeah, I guess to see that I'd been missed and I hadn't been forgotten about was just a good sort of reinforcement that coming back and starting to do videos again is the right move. So anyway, that's that out of the way. Let me run you through some of the jobs that we need to get done in this video, and if the parts turn, well, this video won't get released until this engine is physically in and running, because of, obviously it has to be for the dyno session. Now, if the parts turn up late and I miss the dyno session, it's not the end of the world. You know, I can rebook, we can do another one. It's completely, you know, completely fine, but I still need this thing up and running. So like I said, this video, she'll run. I've said that in previous videos and then, you know, turns out that it hasn't, but this one, it'll run. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I should edit that out, we'll see. All right, let's run through some of the stuff we're gonna get done straight up, and we'll start working our way through it. Quick and dirty overview. 6.5 litre V8 Chev diesel. In the last episode I showed we basically did a rebuild on it. New pistons, new rings, new rod bearings, head gaskets, head bolts. Yeah, it's, the main bearings were inspected, they're in good condition. Basically this is more or less a new engine. Now, some of the obvious differences, it's got a mid-mount turbo. Normally when these go in a GQ or a Patrol, they have a turbo off to the passenger side. We're in Australia, so this is the passenger side. Personally, I really like mid-mounts, and I don't like big crossover pipes and things. Personal preference, yeah. That's what we have, that's what we're working with. I do have a top mount intercooler as well that you'll see in this episode. It's pretty much finished. A lot of fab work went on with that. But yeah, so we got that as well. What else have we got? Obviously, so the parts we're missing, like I mentioned, we are missing a water pump. Hopefully that turns up today. And then we are also missing, I've got brand new marine injectors coming. So these injectors were all tested, and there was 3 of them that had spray patterns, the rest of them dribbled and carried on, so I cannot run them with them. So yeah, injectors and water pump. If they turn up in time, then the rest of the car will be ready, and I'll be waiting on that, I guarantee it. As for the interior, nothing has changed at all since last episode. Still got to wire in gauges. Not 100% critical for the dyno run, but if I have time I will. There's another relay block and everything to go in too. Haven't done a single thing from the last episode with the dual battery setup. That's our main cranking battery, and there's, you know, big heavy cable. They are ran all the way to the front properly now, so maybe that's changed, I'm not sure. Yeah, second battery's got to go in there, and then there's a red arc and bits and bobs to go in the middle. As I said, none of that's changed since last episode. So the only things So we're going to finish the ratio change on the rear diff. We're going to strip and shim the LSD as well at the same time. The car's got 500 and something thousand on it, which is, you know, not uncommon for a GQ, especially a 90, you know, early 90s. But it's a fair bet that the LSD's got a fair chunk of wear, so we're going to do that and get into it. So yeah, jobs for straight up for me is this wiring has to get pulled up against the side here, and I need to put the windscreen washer bottle, and then my nice big air filter goes, and then we can completely button up all the wiring, and I can start with getting things like the intercooler mostly on. I can't have it 100% on because the manifold's got to go on first. But with these, the manifold can't go on until the fuel rails go on. Fuel rails can't go on until injectors go in. So we're a little bit snookered in that area, but still plenty we can do, so. Alrighty, well, pretty much at the end of another bloody long day. I'm not far off it, but anyway, still got a couple more hours here I'll muck around with before I bother going home. Changes. We've got a lot more of the wiring done, so that's just waiting to be harnessed. They're all our sensors, and we got big ones are for 2 big thermo fans that'll go under the intercooler. The other one's for all the glow plugs, and yeah, the rest are just sensors and, you know, air conditioning and air compressor. I don't know if I've showed this yet or not, but I've got a proper engine-driven air compressor. Not an aircon. That's an aircon that is actually air conditioning. That's an air compressor. So we'll run that to a tank somewhere, and it's also got a air conditioner style electromagnetic clutch. So yeah, I can basically switch it on in the cab and have it build pressure, and then when it reaches desired pressure, it'll let go of the clutch and sit there and freewheel, and yeah, so pretty cool. Anyway. Air filter. So like I said, this is a big Donaldson unit. It's 4-inch in, 4-inch out, twin element, so we should have no issues with dusting this engine. That's a very good filter unit, and it was quite expensive. Only real little bugger. This pivots, that end pivots, so I might have to come up on a bit of an angle to get across to clear me little breather, but that breather won't be staying anyway. It'll vent, or it'll come back into the intake. So yeah. What else have we done? Geez, I hope I've done more than that. Oh yeah, okay. We finished a bit more wiring and things. I know it looks messy down in there, but there's method to the madness. That solenoid in there is my glow plug solenoid. And back here, I don't have a filter on it yet, but that's my fuel filter housing. So that's all plumbed up. The only part of the fuel system that's not plumbed up, apart from injectors, is the fuel return. So it comes out of the top of there, and there's a little spill rail that runs across, and it'll come across and probably run down the chassis rail because the return line's down in there. So yeah. So that was a sort of pretty big win. I'll get a filter for that probably tomorrow, hopefully, if things are open. There has absolutely nothing changed. In here, we've done a little bit. So very simple, like I said. Small relay distribution, fused distribution block, which comes off a it's a 100 amp circuit breaker, which is ridiculous. Nothing in this system is going to draw 100 amps, but what it allows me to do is actually just disconnect everything to do with the dual battery. So that's the feed coming out of the dual battery. All these bits and pieces, I can just push that button and it'll kill everything coming out of the dual battery. So yeah, using it more as a isolator than a circuit breaker, but there you have it. What do we got? Now, so what I did do is I did upgrade the my brain is just fried today. I upgraded the red arc. Now there's nothing wrong with the red arc. It would have worked quite fine, but what annoys me about red arc, and I don't understand why they haven't changed their product yet, because every other one on the market does, that I can think of off the top of my head, they don't have solar input. So that means you have to run a dedicated solar relay and bits and pieces to get charge across. They also, from what I understand, even if you put solar on your main cranking battery and the solar brings that battery up over 13.2 or whatever, when it reaches a certain point, it's supposed to join the two batteries together and charge. But because the red arc requires a ignition switch feed as well, I don't believe it'll actually spill over into the second battery until the ignition turns on. I could be wrong, happy to be proven wrong with that one, but I'm pretty sure that's how they work. Either way, that Thunder unit, that's it there. So they're, you know, been around for a fair while, this Thunder stuff actually. It's a DC-DC, 20 amp, same as the Red Arc. It will accept lithium, Red Arc does not. And also it accepts a solar input, Red Arc does not. And it'll also preferential charge between the main and auxiliary via solar. So if it's got a panel onto it and it senses that your main battery is low, it'll stop charging your auxiliary and actually charge your main. Then when your main comes back up by solar, it'll spill back over and start charging your auxiliary again. And it also has, if I can find where I put it, it also has a display. Oh, actually there's a little picture. So if it wants to focus and not be crappy, so there's, you know, a display. It'll tell you what sort of current it's putting in and where the current's coming from, and where, I don't think it doesn't tell you. What do we got? Yeah, it'll tell you the main battery, the second battery, where the current's coming from, so whether it's coming from a solar panel or the alternator, and how much current is coming in, or how much current it's distributing anyway. So if your batteries are fully charged and you're running the engine, it might only be putting 2 or 3 amps into the battery. So, and it'll tell you that. It's the same unit Dad's got in his Patrol, and it works really good. He likes it, and we actually brought 2 of them when they were on sale. So yeah, so I thought we'd use it. Kills a lot of birds, and I don't know, that's the end of it. What else have we got? Oh yeah. Oh, this is just, it's getting awkward in here. The diff is completely back together, and it's got a tail shaft, whether you can see it or not, but it does. So yeah, axle's back in, all that back together, tail shaft, and, oh, actually, and another job off the list. I don't know where he's put my key. Oh, there they are, never mind, got them. We are now diesel, so modified the filler cap. So if you got a petrol, the cap is actually, the filler is reduced, next down in size, so you can't put a diesel funnel in it. Funnily enough, you can actually go the other way quite easily, which, to be honest, does more damage if you put petrol into diesel. But yeah, that's back in, completely plumbed. So that means that now the fuel tank is 100% in, and the fuel pump is 100% in, all the way up to the fuel filter. So that is completely ticked off. That's been a big sort of mission, to be honest. But that's all done now, 100%. So I replaced the fuel filler hose as well, because the old stuff was just brittle and gone hard from years. It's got proper fuel rated suction transfer line, and same with the vent. Yeah, that's where we are. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to try and get this dual battery set up pretty much completely done today, and I would also like to get the rest of the wiring to the starter, so the big heavy cable that goes from the front of the car to the starter motor, positive. I want that run today too, and then I need to run a cable that goes from the starter up to that big solenoid on the firewall. And then in theory, I actually should be able to turn the key and I'll get all the dash lights to come on, because that'll bring the rest of the car alive. The engine harness is separate to that, but that'll actually bring the car alive. So let's go ahead and do that. That might be a good thing to keep the morale up for the day. So before I basically put it down, I'm going to give you a bit of a quick shot of the underside of the car. So fuel tank, the gas tank, like I said previously, was right up the back under there. Now it's gone. This is our main tank for the moment. It's about 65 litres, so yeah, don't know, we'll run it. Okay, so the big battery cables come down through the floor. That's the ground there. Sorry, there, I don't know if that light's helping. Is that light helping? Oh no, let the camera do the work, there you go. Right, so that stud is welded to the chassis, and we got there our big ground, so they come down from the fuel filter, down out of the cab to there, bolt together to there, and from there it goes up to the gearbox. So that's grounding the engine and chassis at the same time. What we're going to do is up the front, I'm going to run one from the chassis, so we'll go from the chassis to the body, and I'll also run another one up the front from the directly off the engine block to the chassis. So everything should be well grounded. This is my pre-pump, pre-pump filter. So it's a washable stainless steel gauze unit. Why are you not getting your things there? So yeah, it's a washable ProFlow. Actually, that one's a Speedflow gauze unit. I forget what micron it is. It is quite fine. And then I got my lift pump here, so in and out obviously, and then back to the hard line of the tank. So yeah, pretty neat. And the main feed battery cable is this one here. It's in non-split conduit the whole way, and then it goes right up to back of the starter up there. And there's also heat shrink, dual wall heavy heat shrink over the end of the cable that seals the lug to the conduit, and also obviously seals the lug itself. So what that does, because it's non-split conduit, it's a sealed piece of conduit all the way, it means that there's no possible way that I can get water or dust or dirt or anything down inside that cable between the conduit and the cable itself, so there'll be no chafing down in there, protects it from water, dust, and blah blah blah. It's a very good way to do it if you're going to run such long cable runs like that. The negative, not so much. It can chafe through. It is cable tied and P-clamped out of the way, but if it chafes through, well, it's just a ground. It's going to touch on the ground. Not the end of the world. But the positive, yeah, keep that sucker isolated. Yeah, so all I've got to do is run this cable here, which is on the back of the starter. We're just going to run that one, sort of snake it up through. It's heavy. This one does not need to be this big. This is really the only power. This is a power feed for the car. The most intensive current that's ever going to come off this will be the glow plugs. I mean, glow plugs, probably you're talking about 50, 60 amps, maybe a bit more. That's like 300 amp welding cable. Should be fine. But anyway, that's going to run up, and that'll be my main bus for the car. So we're going to do that now. Then I'm going to put the batteries on, and then we're going to see if the dash lights will come on, or if it all goes up in smoke. So I'll be sure to turn the camera on before I do that. All right, moment of truth. We shouldn't really get any great inrush. The only things that might bring it on is the lights or anything. Let's see, key is in the ignition, but it's not on. Nothing. That was unexciting. Good. I like unexciting when it comes to batteries and things. All right, give me a second. I'm going to hook this up, and I'm going to put the charge controller on too. So just give me a minute to plug this up, and then we'll check for dash lights. All right, so we're on. So if we change, yep, there we go. Click the isolator. I think green light means charged. Well, it says charging, but yeah, don't know about that. Anyway, we're on. Power's off. Don't know what happened there. Might just be an initialization thing. All right, let's have a bit of a geeze. Now, nothing's going to happen because there's still no starter wire or anything on anything. All I'm really looking for is for the dash lights to do something. Hey, they do. Sweet. So there's a door open. Ooh. Yep. Well, we don't have indicators, but anyway, there we go. What do we got? Fan works. AC light comes on and off. Don't have hazards. We don't have a clock. Oh, it's all right. That whole thing's not clicked in. Fair enough. All right, none of my gauges are wired up yet, but they will be. Oop, sweet. So that's the base wiring for the car sorted. Well, finally got the intercooler finished. So that's the top section that normally just breeze through the front there. I haven't gone through and cleaned the welds up yet, so don't kill me too much. But yeah, that's the intercooler. So custom end tanks, obviously. Started life as a oh come on brain, Land Cruiser V8 intercooler. So a VDJ. I believe this one was actually off a 200. don't know, could be wrong, but it was either a 200 or a 79, so either way. Yeah, I cut the tanks off. I welded the seams from the tanks, and then I made my own end tanks as well. So it's basically to suit everything, and then has a twin outlet. So that's the inlet there, comes out of the turbo. Twin outlet down into the engine. And I decided to use these sort of non-blowy offy style quick clamps. So what they are, if you've never seen them before, they've got a coupler. Well, they've got two couplers. They come as a kit. You get that section, and then they've got O-rings on them, and there's a nice fitting sleeve that goes over the O-rings, and then this clamp goes around the whole lot and makes it so that it can't spread apart. So it actually clicks. See if I can do it with one hand. Oh, I've already got one open. So it actually, once the sleeve and everything are all together, it clicks around the whole thing. And it means that it can't come off, and the sleeve and the O-rings do the sealing, and this stops everything from being able to spread too fast, so they cannot pop off. They're also fairly easy to undo and redo, so they've got like four little fingers there. See if we can get it to focus. So they've got 4 little fingers there that just ride up over little ramps, and you just grab the fingers, pull it apart, and it comes apart again. So they are a little fiddly to put on, just because you've got to sort of get that to slide over and blah blah blah, but yeah, they're not terrible, and like I said, they're nice and easy to come apart, and they cannot pop off. Not that that's going to be a massive issue with this engine, because I'm only going to be pushing probably 10 to 15 pound of boost, so they are normally like a high boost application. But hey, they actually weren't that expensive, and they look cool, so we're running them. So now we're starting to get a little bit of a feel of what the engine bay is going to look like. So, intercooler. Yeah, so there's the sort of modified intake down in there, and these little quick clamps here. Yeah, you could just pinch them together and they pop open, and you can pull this intercooler can come off in about a minute. Would be one clamp at the back, and then unclick those, slide the intercooler off. Makes it really easy. They're a little bit fiddly to get back together, but yeah, not the end of the world. Sort of a bit of an idea of how I'm going to go with the snorkel. My biggest annoyance of this entire engine build and conversion, and it's just something that I don't like, is my snorkel's going to have to be on the driver's side. Yeah, it's just a pure, I don't know, what would you call it? Vanity? No, not vanity. I don't know. Nissan's, the snorkel should be on the passenger side. That's where the air boxes always are. And I mean, I've got a snorkel on this side, but it's going to come off, and I'll clean the guard and everything. Unless you have a reason to have 2 snorkels, like it's a twin turbo, high mount twin turbo, and you've got 2 air filters, twin snorkels, run them. I can't see the point in running twin snorkels if they're both not doing something. So that one will go, that one will stay. The reason why I hate them on the driver's side, Land Cruiser's got them on the driver's side. That's pure and simple. Anyway, that's all right. It's not really that big of a deal. I'm just having a bit of a sook. Yeah, so from here, I think the next step is, because that's completely welded out. I pressure tested it, soapy, bubbles, soapy water and everything, and I did have a few leaks I had to come back and fix, but it's pretty good, just needs to tidy up. Next step for me is going to be the exhaust. The dump pipe is finish welded, that's fine. Where I put my EGT probe, I should have put the dump pipe on. I should have done it once it was in the car. I just sort of did it when it was on the engine stand, and the EGT probe won't come in and out. So I'm going to have to cut that and move it and modify that. Once that's done, I think I'm going to turn my attention to the rest of the exhaust and try and get it ran. I wasn't super worried about it for the moment, for the interest of getting on the dyno. I was just basically going to just make a little turn down and just dump it. But now I've sort of got enough time to actually basically keep working on the exhaust. I might as well try and get it finished. So yeah, it will be 4-inch all the way through, and for the purpose of the exercise, it will not have a muffler in it. It will be straight piece of 4-inch pipe all the way. Gonna be loud, but you know, I can always put a muffler in after. So yeah, that's it. Nothing else inside's changed. I've just been trying to push hard and get that intercooler done, which it is. All right, check it out. We got parts. Water pump turned up. I'm still waiting on injectors, but I mean, yeah. I'm looking at the tracking and it's on track. So anyway, yeah, it's just a complete standard replacement. Unfortunately, it's not a high volume. I would have liked to have gotten a high volume water pump, but they were over double the price. And this has not been a cheap exercise, and I'm pretty tapped out as far as what I can spend goes. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe down the track when I, recover a little bit financially from this, we might spring for a high volume. I'll just see how it goes. I mean, we're not dragging a whatever it is, a 2500 GMC or anything like that down the road. This is 2.5 ton. It's not wild, and also this is, it's just a 4-wheel drive. Like I'll tow a trailer here and there, but I'm not towing a dirty big gooseneck or anything like that. So a little bit of horses for courses, but we'll see how it goes. I've also got a nice big aluminium triple pass radiator with some big fans on it. So, we'll just see. Let's baseline the thing. Anyway, so because I've got that, it means that I'll just quickly pull my accessory drives off. They're only sort of sitting there anyway. And then this most stupid design in the world, I've got to pull this cover plate here off. You bolt the water pump to the cover plate, and then you bolt the cover plate and everything on. The bolts come into the water pump from the back. So to change a water pump, it's a bit of a pain in the butt. Anyway, that's how it is. So that's what we're gonna do. We get that off, everything else back on, and then that means I can button up my accessory drives completely, which is good. That's a big step. I can put the harmonic balancer back on. I can run my power steering lines properly to the power steering pump. I can tick a lot of boxes off as soon as that water pump's on, so let's get after it. So we're getting down to that whole last 10% of the build's taken, more than 10% of the time. So Dad's sorting out a little bit of wiring there, left to sort of go. In theory, when that's done there, we should be able to turn the key on, have proper, or not proper dash because the alternator's not up, but we should hear the fuel pump run. And if we bump the key, the engine should turn. There's no oil in the motor at the moment, so I'm not going to do that, but it would. The aircon condenser's sitting there. This one's actually stuffed. I'm just making sure that everything fits around it. The threads are all completely munched, so. But oil cooler's mounted properly, so it's rubber mounted. It's got isolators in the corners, and it's good. The rest of the wiring is actually physically done as far as ran and, everything. It just needs to be tidied up a bit more once the engine's together, and then put some wrap over it to protect it. And that's it. What else have we got? Diffs. I just put oil in the rear diff, and also put oil in the, I dropped and put fresh oil in the transfer case. And I also did the same thing to the gearbox, and the gearbox looked incredibly nasty. So the oil did. There was really not much on the drain, but on the drain plug. So there should be nothing stopping me turning this key.
No, you should be.
Alright.
Put it on. I'll just ground the alternator out.
So that's accessories. I got nothing.
Put it on.
That's, yeah, so if you go dash, fuel gauge. Oh, okay, I'll bump it.
Yep.
Alright.
It sounded healthy.
It's a good starter.
Good, solid.
I don't have, just put the wire on again. Fuel gauge isn't moving.
No,
so I put
the oil pressure gauge won't move. Oh, yes, it will. Hooked up.
Oh yeah, the oil pressure gauge just come up off the. No, it's not. No, it's not hooked up. No, okay, all right. I was hoping the fuel gauge would come up because I plugged it back in, and it's got 20 litres in it. So.
Yeah, but
Anyway, doesn't matter. I'll put a bit more fuel in and see what it does later. But we are in a position. Wonder if the handbrake light comes on. But yeah, I mean our dash lights will. Oh, I got headlights. And high beams. Oh, sorry, we'll show you out there. So, don't have parkers hooked up, but so low beam, high beam.
This car's coming along.
Righto. That's about it. Pretty much a full day's work. That's about it. But I was looking at my tracking. My injectors should be here. So not right now, but hopefully they'll turn up and we're going to get this thing done. So fingers crossed, but it's Australia Post, so anything could happen. So we have jumped forward considerably in time. My injectors turned up. Now, I will say from the get-go, they were literally the cheapest ones I could get from AliExpress. And I'm fortunate enough to have access to a diesel injector tester, and I will say they tested perfect. Everyone had a crack off between sort of 2200, 2300 PSI, and the spray patterns were quite passable. There was nothing wrong with them. So longevity will be the key, but they were $200 Australian shipped to my door for a set of 8 marine injectors. How good are they going to be? Time will tell, but out of the box, they function fine. So they're all in, our fuel return rails are in, manifolds on, all my belt routing and everything is on. The engine is wired pretty much completely. Like you saw in the last little clip, we've tested the fuel pump and a few other bits and pieces. What we haven't got is an actual push button for the starter, the fuel start enrichment.
That's it.
Yeah, it's coming. So that's the cold start enrichment and also the glow plug solenoid. Now we'll just manually clunk that.
Yeah.
You've only got to drop it to the ground. Other than that, everything else is good to go. We got oil in the engine, I've got oil feed and everything else. I want to put a cap on that vacuum so it's not sucking its head off while we're trying to run.
And we've got no tacho, because
still don't have a tacho, but
8 versus 6 doesn't work.
We also don't have any coolant in it at the moment. There's no water in them at the moment. I just want to fire it up, bleed the injectors, build oil pressure, hear it run, and then we can keep working on actually getting this thing down the road. So I'll set you up in a stand and we'll get some action happening.
So I'd say give full throttle.
Yep.
Turn the pump on. I just want to see for a second, make sure our wiring's correct. Yep.
Crank it.
Crank it, let's get some. Well, hang on, no, we got fuel. Finally come up.
Oh, okay.
We got fuel. Just took a bit.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna lock these 4 up. The other 4 will start up once it gets a bit of fuel into it.
I'd say so.
RPM.
I'm glad we built oil pressure anyway. The light's out. Actually, the oil pressure light works too. There you go.
That must be a light as well. You don't have a separate switch for that,
No,
do
I
you?
don't. So.
The turbo does a good spin on crank. All right.
You're right with the board and bits and pieces?
Don't shoot yourself when it starts to run, all right? Keep it running.
Are you right? Yeah, okay. Right?
Yep. Oh,
Yeah, you got no glow.
yeah, put a bit of glow on it, yep. That works.
That slows it down. Full throttle.
Right, whoa, we got smokage over there.
Lot.
Whoa, yeah. Oh, it's out of the exhaust pipes, all right. Because we got a lot of fuel in the exhaust, unburnt.
Why is it glow? Okay.
Hey? No, it wasn't. It just happened to missed out. Probably because we've heated it up. Righto.
Full throttle.
Crank it. Keep it going. Bring it up. Oh, 13. With the headlights on high beam. Bring the revs up. Alright, shut it down.
No,
Hey,
that's keys off.
won't shut down.
No.
Yes, it will.
Holy shit, that sounds better than last time.
Yeah. Hey, no smoke rings.
Yeah.
The smoke, but no smoke rings.
Oh, that sounds good.
Oh, so much better.
That sounds good.
Just happy
Good
to
oil
roll.
pressure.
Yeah.
Good oil pressure.
Why is that not shutting off a window? Anyway, we'll check that out.
Alrighty. It is 9:35. I got here after work today and been here all day. So it's the Friday before I was supposed to put in the dyno on Sunday. It runs really well. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be driving it to the dyno. I was hoping to, but I'm not going to be driving it. I'll trailer it, and that's fine. Everything is together. You know, everything is together. So intercooler's on, which I'm not sure if that, I don't think you actually would have seen that in the last clip. Intercooler's 100% on. Boost line's not hooked up yet to the gauge. My gauges aren't wired up yet, so there's another thing that I would like to try and do before I get on the dyno. But if they're not done, it's not the end of the world. Airbox is on, so that's 4-inch all the way. Dad come through and he did all the heater hose wiring and smashed it. It's bloody fantastic. So we've run it tonight. Brought it right up to temperature, fans kick in, which is good. We had a few little oil leaks, so we've sort of fixed them, primarily the rocker covers. Apparently these things are notorious for rocker cover leaks, and I will agree, it's a pain in the butt. We actually had a power steering line burst, and we fixed that. We've got some hydraulic line here, and we have the facility, so we fixed that. It's been a fight. This thing, I mean, I probably mentioned it in the last one anyway, but this thing's been a fight every step of the way. Not so much, not anyone's fault, really, it's just been a push. But also, something we did finish off, I'll put the hoist up and I'll bring you back. So, we have an exhaust. 4-inch stainless, TIG welded, not my finest welds, it's late at night. All the way up over the diff. Now, again, it's late at night and we're sort of in a bit of a hurry. This drops down a little bit further than what I'd like. It looks a little bit sort of dicky, but I like the tip. So yeah, she sort of cranks out the side, 4-inch all the way, and you will note the distinct lack of any form of muffler. It's loud. Not, I don't know. Yeah, it's loud. I can try and sugarcoat it, but it's just freaking loud. Do have an oil leak here, which, I don't know, we're actually thinking might be input shaft for the gearbox. So, anyway. Yeah, what do we got? There's a bit of stuff kicking around. It's just things people don't show you. So I got, still got a little bit up there. Things people don't show you when you do engine conversions and stuff like this from scratch, and you touch every single nut and bolt and you build every part. They take weeks, if not months, to fine tune all the bits out. I mean, this engine's got a total of 10 minutes running. Oh, maybe, yeah, at most 10 minutes running.
No load.
Oh, no load. It's just been, you know, which it needs to be loaded. You really do want to load them when you build a brand new engine. You know, it takes months to sort out all the little bits, you know, like power steering lines that pop and little oil leaks that turn up from various places, and, you know, does the exhaust rattle? It'll rattle on something. Anyway, so, yeah.
This build has been, every millimetre's been a mile.
Oh, yeah, it's been a push.
And I will admit, with the 4-inch exhaust, it's quieter than a ZD30 on a supercharger.
Yeah, well, it is. It's quieter than that. That sounded shocking. Anyway, but I'm not going to get to road test it before the dyno, so it'll be bedded in on the dyno and ran. It won't be tuned as such on the dyno. I'll just run it up and just see what it makes. I have no idea how much boost pressure it's going to push. It's a non-wastegated turbo, and essentially when you set them up on a diesel, you set them up and you limit the boost pressure with the fuel. I have absolutely no idea how much fuel's wound into this. It's just gone back together as is. As I said, I haven't even driven it. So yeah, the gearbox I selected all the gears and it shifted gears fine. The clutch feels really nice.
Rear brakes work. You tried that?
Yeah, the brakes work.
Load.
Yeah, so we loaded it up with the brakes, but yeah, other than that.
Real quick, we are about to drive it out of the shed. Got rims and tyres on. I'll show you a bit more later, but we had to do a impromptu bonnet scoop because intercooler didn't fit. Anyway, first drive. Literal first drive for the car. I've never driven this car under its own power, so here we go. as you saw, we did make it to the dyno. All in all, it was a good day. I'll put the numbers up of what it made. If I did my job right, I would have already done that in the shots of the run-up. Let me explain what sort of happened a bit better though. So, I mean, as you sort of gathered, this was completely untested, undriven, everything when we rolled up to the dyno. We spent some time loading it up to start with, to bed the rings, seat the engine, everything. We did go for a bit of a drive around his property just to basically run it, you know, put it under some load, drive the car around, bring it through the revs. I still don't actually have a tacho on it, so you know, I'm being very cautious about how hard I rev it. I'm not revving it very hard anyway. Then yeah, backed it up onto the dyno, put it under some heavy loads, 3/4 throttle, that sort of stuff. Being able to load it with the rollers is a good way to bed them in. And then we proceeded to do a couple of pulls. Now, I have set myself a hard limit of 15 pound of boost on this engine. That seems to be the general consensus for the optimizer engines. I mean, as you can see, it's intercooled, free-flowing exhaust, you know, it's a fresh build. It should handle 15 pound of boost. It doesn't have head studs and it doesn't have MLS gaskets, so you know, I don't want to go wild with it, but it'll handle 15 pound. What we were finding on the dyno is that we're getting to about 11 or 12 and the boost ramp was just still well climbing. So the runs we did one full throttle run, but we only did it for a very short amount of time because the boost was skyrocketing. So it wasn't a full run. We aborted the run because the boost got to 13 pound, showed no signs of plateauing out, so we just aborted the run. The very first run you see in the video is the most complete run. That was actually all the way to what I figured would have been about 3,700, 3,800 RPM, mathematically with the 3.9 diff ratios and the 31s we've got. So that wasn't done at full throttle though. That run was actually done at 3/4 throttle, paying really close attention to the boost pressures. So yeah, it was about 3/4 throttle, and I believe it peaked out at about 11.5, maybe 12 pound of boost. So yeah, that number I think is actually relatively impressive considering it's, you know, not full throttle. Now let's address the black smoke. It absolutely rolls coal when it's not on boost, like phenomenally, way too much. Now, like I said, this just all went back together as I had it. I am damn sure now that someone has fiddled with the injection pump. They would have wound it up a little bit, and I'm going to pull it back. These injection pumps aren't boost compensated, so when you put your foot flat to the boards, if it's got no boost, there's no airflow to go with the diesel, the pump doesn't care. It'll just put the diesel in. You know, issues with that, crap loads of black smoke. You do get pretty high EGTs. You'll get quite high cylinder temperatures. So yeah, once the boost comes in, so off boost, so when you start the run, you go full throttle, the rollers load everything up, and then the rollers will allow the RPM to come up while still maintaining load. When you are full throttle with lower in the RPM with no boost, it got to like 13:1, which for a diesel is incredibly rich, and as you saw, that just creates black smoke. Once it does come on boost, however, the AFRs were rolling right back to about 19:1, you know, 19.5 to 1, which is actually pretty much sweet spot for a diesel. If you can get a diesel to sit at 19:1, 18 still good, about 17.5-ish, you know, you'll start to see black smoke. So if you can get it to sit at 19, you'll have good EGTs, you know, your cylinder pressures will be, your cylinder temperatures will be fine, that sort of stuff. You can make more power, you can roll it back to 18 if you want. You just need to keep an eye on gauges and things like that. So yeah, like I said, once it comes on boost, the AFRs lean out beautifully and they sit at about 19.5. That doesn't happen until about 2,000 RPM. So for an engine that revs to not even 4,000, that's not really that acceptable. So I'm going to look into replacing the AR housing on this turbo with a tighter AR. So it's a 0.84 at the moment. I'm going to drop it down to a 0.67, I believe, is the next drop. And that will
effectively help the turbo spin up much quicker. And also because they are a tighter housing, it will also limit the maximum boost pressure. The trade-off, and I have to be careful, and I will put a gauge in it and measure it, is that you will end up with increased back pressure in the manifolds. I will monitor that because that's not something, I did go through that in the last video, that's something you really need to be aware of. Anyway, that's what we're going to do. Other than that, the day went well. Yeah, a few runs on the dyno. As I said, the first one's probably the best one. It's the most indicative of how the engine will perform. Once it's at full throttle, it'll get a lot more horsepower. The torque looked like it was starting to nose over a little bit, but again, we're not full throttle, so, you know, and there'll still be a few more pound go into it. Like that was 11 or 12. I want to cap it at 15. 3 pound of boost makes a big difference. So yeah, but it runs and drives. You know, I'm sort of, like I said, drove it around his property a bit. Definitely haven't driven it on the street because you can't do that on the street. That's no good. Anyway, yeah, we do have a few issues though, which will get fixed in the next episode. But we've got 2 oil leaks, which are bad enough for me to not drive the car. There's a rocker cover leak, which a good mate of mine is making me some rocker cover gaskets, and also he is making me some spreader plates to go over the top of the rocker covers to make them clamp down better. Rocker cover leak, and there is also still a leak from one of my oil cooler lines, which needs to be rectified. I do have a slight power steering leak. It's coming from the pump itself, so I'm going to have to pull the pump. It was second hand, you know, unknown condition. We'll have to pull the pump and fix that. And other than that, yeah, we're pretty good. The bugger is that to get a rocker cover off, you've got to take the intercooler off, the intake manifold off, the injector lines off, so you can get the rocker cover off. So anyway, that's all right. We work our way down the list. And there's also, I got to finish the air conditioning compressor and get all the air conditioning stuff back in the car. And then I've also got to finish my air compressor as well. So that's just some mounts and wiring, and, or not wiring, plumbing. The wiring's already there. And then we're good to actually get this thing on the road and take it for a good burn, get some rego on it and run it. So yeah. Anyway, I know this has been an incredibly long video. If you've made it this far, good on you. And yeah, I appreciate you sticking with it. It's been a hell of a project for me, but we're not done. And we're gonna keep working on it. So, you know, if you enjoyed it, great. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking around. And give it a like if you want to, but that's completely up to you. Alright, well, I'm going to end it. Like I said, it's been well long enough, and yeah, I'm going to go to bed for a bit because I'm tired. Righto, stay safe, and we'll catch you out on the next one.